Hi children, I think you are very clear with the previous two topics where we discussed about introduction of federalism and how India is following federalism. Children, don't be much concerned about memorizing the concepts, just compare the concept with the current scenario. You know that India is having three levels of government, right? Central, state and local government. Now you are just linking the term federalism with it. When these three levels of the government are sharing powers equally, then that is called as federalism. And we discussed that India is sharing powers in the form of threefold: union list, state list, and concurrent list. If there is any problem between central and the state government, the courts have the power to interpret and solve the dispute. So, we concluded that India is following the principles of federalism. Children, do you remember the story of Belgium? In Belgium, they had a problem between Dutch and French people. And the Belgium government solved that dispute and made the people live united. How they made the people live united when there was a clash? By using the elements of Belgium model. They gave equal powers to Dutch and French in the form of central, state and community government. So both the people got power, so they lived unitedly, right? Similarly, in India, we are following the principles of federalism without any problem. There are different types of people, but we are not fighting with each other and we are living in a united manner. So how is that possible? Are we having any elements of Indian model? Let us check that. So today we are going to discuss how federalism is successfully practiced in India. And the very first thing you want to understand is, if the federalism need to be successful, the constitutional provisions are very important, which is related to the fundamental rights for the people. But that alone is not sufficient to make the federal principles successful in a country. If you take India, the nature of democratic politics is the main reason for the success of federalism. So what is the democratic politics? You know that democracy means for the people, by the people and to the people. All the people are having rights, and you can easily connect this with the term federalism. Federalism means the different levels of the government should have equal power, and democracy means the people should have equal rights. So both are interrelated, right? So only the democratic politics is making the federalism successful in India because it is ensuring three things. One is, it is showing the spirit of federalism, and then it is respecting the diversity, and it is having desire for living together. Okay, so the nature of democratic politics in India is ensuring these three ideals, so only the federalism is successful in India. And children, we know that if a person needs to be successful, definitely he should come across lot of obstacles, right? Similarly, India, if it is a successful federal country, definitely there would have been lot of problems. So let us check what are the obstacles faced by Indian federalism. We are going to check about three things like that. The first major test for the Indian federalism was formation of linguistic states. Do you know what is linguistic states? The states which are formed based on the language, that is called as linguistic states. So just give an example of linguistic states in the comment box. Now let us check what happened with the language. You just check this 1947 India's map with the 2013 map. You can encounter lot of changes, right? The names which you can see here will not be found here, and the territories which are looking like this is not at all present here. So what happened? So many old states, they disappeared, which gave rise to new states. Areas changed, boundaries changed, names of the states changed. If you check, in 1947, the boundaries of several old states were changed and it was made as a new state. And this was done to make the people speaking same language to live in the same state. Clear? So this is what linguistic states. The people who speak a particular language will be made to live together in a particular state. And not all the states are based on the language. Some states are formed based on culture, ethnicity and geography. If you take the examples of Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand, they are not based on the linguistic policy. That means the people speaking same language are not living here, but the people speaking different languages having similar culture or ethnicity and a place with a particular type of topography, they are made as a particular state. Are you clear with that? So Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand are based on culture, ethnicity and geography. Clear with that? And do you know what? When for the first time the people were asking the leaders to form linguistic states, the leaders were afraid about it. Why the leaders were feared about it? Because they thought if we are dividing the people based on the language, then it will lead to disintegration of the country. That means if we divide the language people, then they will not be united. They will become like an enemy. So the unity of the country will be affected like that. The people are scared. And because of this reason, the central government was not allowing for the formation of linguistic states for some time. But later it allowed it. And then only they realized that the formation of linguistic states made the people live more united and it made the administration very easier. So you just take Tamil Nadu and Kerala. If both the states are together as a single state, what will happen? There will be many confusions, right? Whenever a policy is made, they need to consider that two types of people are living here, so both the people need to be benefited. And it will be very difficult to unite both the people. Often there will be some problems. And for that purpose only, they confirmed that, okay, dividing the people based on the languages are making the people live more united. Are you clear with this, children? The first major test for the federation was linguistic states. Many old states disappeared and it gave rise to new states. Areas, boundaries and names of the states was changed. And the people speaking same language were made to live in the same state. But not all the states are based on the linguistic policy. Some states are formed based on culture, ethnicity and geography. What are the examples for it? Nagaland, Jharkhand and Uttarakhand. And when the demand for formation of linguistic states rose first, the leaders were afraid because they thought it will lead to disintegration of the country. But actually what happened? It made the people live united and it made the administration very easier. Hope you all are clear with it. Now coming to the second test. What was the second obstacle faced by the Indian Federation? It is related with the language. Can you remember the official language of Sri Lanka? It's Sinhala language, right? As the Sinhala government made Sinhala as the official language, Tamil people felt alienated and it was a big problem there. And now coming to India, the same problem existed and how the Indian leaders overcame it. In India, the status of national language was not given to any particular language. And you know what? Hindi was identified as the official language. But the problem is only 40% of the people had Hindi as their mother tongue. So, reminding people they were protecting their own languages. Apart from Hindi, there were 21 languages which are called as scheduled languages by the constitution. Suppose if you are going to write any central government exams, you can take any of these 21 languages along with Hindi. Okay, so a candidate going to appear for central government exam can choose any of these languages. And the states also, they are having their own official languages. Clear? And all the official works in that particular states will be taken care by using that particular language. And in Sri Lanka, the problem happened because of that leaders' attitude towards the majority and minority differences, right? But in India, the leaders were very cautious about dealing with this language issue. What they did was, in 1965, they said the speaking English language should be stopped. But what happened is, the non-Hindi speaking states, they started to go against this policy because they were using English language. They don't know how to speak Hindi. So they went against this policy. And this problem was very violent in Tamil Nadu. and because of it, the central government agreed to use English language along with Hindi. And many people thought that this particular decision is favoring English elites, and promoting Hindi language is continuing, but it doesn't mean the central government is going to force a particular state to use Hindi language. They can use their own official languages. So here the leaders are showing flexibility. They are flexible to change the policies to unite the people. They asked the people to speak Hindi, then they told the people that they can use their own official languages, and also they permitted to use English language. Because of this flexibility, there was no problem happened in India like Sri Lanka. So this is what about the second test, language policy. No particular language was given a status called national language. Hindi was identified as the official language, but only 40% of the people, they are having Hindi as the mother tongue. And apart from Hindi, 21 scheduled languages are there. And the candidate appearing in central government exam can take any of these languages. And the Indian leaders, they are very cautious about dealing with this language issue. In 1965, the constitution said the English speaking should be stopped. But non-Hindi speaking states, they demanded to continue using English. And this problem was violent in Tamil Nadu. So the central government agreed to continue using English along with Hindi. And still they are promoting Hindi, but they are not forcing any people to speak Hindi. So this flexibility made the people live united without any problem. Are you clear with this? Now coming to the third important test faced by Indian Federation. This is related to center and state relation. That is, before 1990, center government and the state government, they were related in a particular way. But after 1990, that relationship got changed. So let us check what happened. And you know what? Before 1990, same party ruled at the center as well as at the state. That means state parties were there, but they were not having any private powers. The central government can come and take off the powers from the state parties anytime. For example, if you are having a state party before 1990, and if your policy is against the central party's policy, then what will happen? The central party will come and take off your powers. They will dismiss your party, because the central government was misusing the powers and they were dismissing the rival parties. Rival parties, you know well, right? So the parties which are seeking for different policies. And because of this, what happened? The federalism principle was greatly affected, because federalism means the central and the state government should have their own power. Central government should not come and take off the powers from the state government, but actually that was happening in India. So the spirit of federalism was affected. After 1990, what happened is, lot of regional parties started to develop. When large number of parties are coming, in election, people will vote for different parties. So the votes are getting splitted in number, right? If there is only two parties, either you will vote for the first or for the second. But when there are 10 parties, each one of you will be voting for different parties. So no single party can get maximum number of votes, because the votes are getting splitted, right? Because of this reason, what happened? The central party, they started to make alliance with the state parties and they entered into coalition government. So 1990, after that, coalition government era started. And this new culture of power sharing was supported by the Supreme Court. And after that, what happened? It was very difficult for the central government to dismiss the state government, and because of that, the state governments, that is the state parties, became very powerful. So the federal power sharing is very effective today compared to the previous time. Are you clear with this? This is the third test, center-state relation. Before 1990, same party was ruling at the center as well as in the state. State parties were there, but they were not having private powers. The parties at the center, they are controlling parties at the state. If the state parties are having different policies from the center party, then state parties will be dismissed by the central party because they are misusing the powers of the constitution. Because of this, the idea of federalism was affected. But after 1990, what happened? Large number of regional parties started to develop, so the votes are getting splitted. No party got majority votes. Because of that, the parties started to make alliance, and thus the national party started to join with the state parties, and they are entering into coalition government. And now the Supreme Court is also supporting this particular decision, and now the central government, it is facing a lot of difficulties to undermine the powers of the state party, right? So this proves that federal power sharing is very strong today compared to the previous time. Are you clear with this, children? So today we discussed about the factors that made federalism successful. Constitutional provisions, along with that our nature of democratic politics, are the reasons for the success of federalism. After that, we discussed for being a successful federal country, what and all problems India came across. So we discussed about 3 problems. One is about linguistic states. So there was a problem between the formation of language based states, but also the leaders just overcame it, and they made the people live united and made the administration easier. So problem came, they became stronger. Second problem, we discussed about the language policy. There was language differences, but what the leaders did, they gave rights for the people to speak any of their own languages. And here also what happened, a problem came, but it made country stronger. And third problem, we discussed about center-state relation. Before 1990, only central government was powerful, but after 1990, center and the state government, they are having their own powers. So all these 3 problems made Indian Federation a very successful one. I think you all are very clear with all the 3 problems. Just recap the video to be very thorough with the 3 concepts because it is very important. Happy learning.